The impact of the Black church on social change throughout history is undeniable. During some of the worst times in the history of Black America, the Black church was the instrument God used to make ways where there were no ways. In the midst of slavery and racial oppression, the signal aspects of African American culture were planted, watered, given light, and nurtured in the Black church, out of the reach and away from the watchful eyes of those who would choke the life out of it. The Black church was the cultural cauldron that Black people created to combat a system designed to crush their spirit. Collectively and with enormous effort, they refused to allow that to happen. And the culture they created was sublime, awesome, majestic, lofty, glorious, and at all points subversive of the larger culture of enslavement that sought to destroy their humanity. The miracle of African American survival can be traced directly to the miraculous ways that our ancestors reinvented the religion that their masters thought would keep them subservient. Rather, that religion enabled them and their descendants to learn, grow, to develop, to interpret, and reinvent the world in which they were trapped. It enabled them to bide their time, ultimately. Time for them to fight for their freedom and for us to continue to fight for ours. It also gave them the moral authority to turn the mirror of religion back on their masters and to indict the nation for its original sin of allowing their enslavement to build up that city upon a hill. During the era of segregation and Jim Crow, the Black church was the seat of the civil rights movement. Through protest and prayer, the Black church led the movement for change and equality. It was entrepreneurs from the Black church who were the biggest financial supporters of the civil rights movement. Without the role of the Black church, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson, Dr. King and John Lewis by his side, both of whom were ordained Baptist ministers. Without them, those laws would never have been enacted when they were. There is no question that the Black church is the parent of the civil rights movement, and today's Black Lives Matter movement is one of its heirs. When African American college students were not allowed to attend white institutions, it was the Black church who created historically Black colleges and universities. After the Civil War, education for slaves, former slaves, and other free Blacks became a priority of various Baptist conventions, the African American Episcopal Church, the United Methodist Church, and the United Church of Christ. HBCU religious connections run deep, impacting education, experience, and history. Between 1866 and 1882, the boards of bishops with the United Methodist Church worked to establish 70 schools for Black students. Now, a large number of HBCUs are affiliated with the United Methodist Church, some of which include Bethune-Cookman University, Claflin University, and Clark Atlanta University. Several institutions were established in the basements of churches, two of which include Morehouse College and Rust College. Morehouse began as the Augusta Institute in Georgia at Springfield Baptist Church in 1867. The function of this school was to teach Black men to minister and teach. Rust College was founded only a year earlier in Holly Springs, Mississippi, at Ashbury Methodist Episcopal Church. Rust is one of only 5 remaining Black colleges founded before 1867. Oakwood University was founded by the Seventh-day Adventist Church and exists now as the only Black university owned and operated by the church. The Black church's investment in Black education paid dividends, not only to the students, but also for America. During the long, dark days of Jim Crow segregation, HBCUs educated the lawyers, doctors, teachers, and ministers who built Black communities across the South. They educated the pioneering activists who built the civil rights movement that broke Jim Crow's back. John Lewis, civil rights pioneer, graduated from Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. Marion Wright Edelman, founder and president of the Children's Defense Fund, attended Spelman College in Atlanta. Martin Luther King Jr. graduated from Morehouse College. Every historically Black college or university produced activists who helped break down the barriers of segregation and transform our nation. The importance of the role of the Black church in the history of the African American people and our nation can't be understated or underestimated. And now, the Black church has an opportunity to do it again and create even more social and economic change. The racial segregation of American cities was not by accident. FDR's New Deal created the first segregated public housing project. And then the 1949 Housing Act encouraged white people to move to the suburbs, which relegated people of color to the inner city. Now, across the country, cities are being gentrified. People are leaving the suburbs and moving into what used to be considered poor urban areas. The problem with gentrification is that it displaces longtime residents. Homes and communities where people of color grew up are being torn down to make way for urban redevelopment. This is another issue that the Black church can weigh in on and make a difference. Imagine a place that addressed gentrification and housing issues, education disparities, food deserts, and the lack of access to opportunities for healthy living. Imagine a place that provided high-quality residences for all people, healthy living and food options, along with spiritual, educational, and economic growth opportunities. That place is the Empowerment Center, and this is the work of the Black church.